the select, the, I will call the meeting of the Select Board of Marshfield, Massachusetts to order. We'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to remind everyone that we are recording this meeting on MCTV. We'll start the meeting with our town administrator report, Mr. Maresco.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been a while since we went through the report, so I'll go quickly. Week of October 11th, had my weekly meeting with PMA to go over potential issues on the police and DPW project. Weekly owner, architect, and contract meeting on the police project to review some challenges that we have as we're rounding the corner on that project. Meeting with the conservation administrator on a number of conservation issues, including Article 97. We had a walkthrough meeting at Mill Creek Project, Madeira 2, which we'll hear more about tonight. Weekly meeting with PMA DPW project on the status of pre-work completed by the DPW as we approach the construction of their new building. Bi-weekly DPW committee meeting at Library Plaza. Weekly meeting with Fred Russell, the facility director. Update on various ongoing projects, including the GAR Hall, schools and town government buildings. Participated in the ADA committee meeting here in the chamber. Did a taping with town council and John Gibson, our moderator, to prepare for the town meeting so that the viewers could tune in and see some of the exciting articles that were taken up at town meeting. Did a taping for the veterans interview on the Veterans Affordable Housing Project, which will open later this week on Veterans Day. Meeting with Lara Brait, the building department, planning regarding a potential development in the Esplanade with the Desropolis family. Walkthrough of for town meeting with the IT department, the moderator, and town clerk. Meeting with No Fossil Fuel on our solar projects and updates on where we are. Regarding solar canopies at the parking lot of the police station, DPW, senior center, as well as charging stations in all of our buildings, and photovoltaics at our schools, and working on some other DPW potential properties. We had town meeting, department head meeting, AV meeting, equipment for the police project. Had a owner architect construction project with Castle Boo, who's the architect for the police project, to discuss the layout of the lobby, IT racks, lighting controls, and keying issues. Attended the Jack Brait event with Governor Baker at the South River School. Meeting at the fairgrounds with Fire Chief Jeff Simpson, former Chief Hawking, and Fred Russell on the clinic preparations. Attended the chamber meeting at the Jetty Restaurant in Brant Rock. Attended a meeting on the Munis project update. First meeting with the Treasurer Collector Search Committee, week of October 25th. Meeting with Bill Grafton to deal with conservation issues and some challenges he's encountering. Storm prep meeting at the EOC with Lieutenant Shaw. Review potential issues, necessary prep regarding Eversource, cable, and tree services. Interview regarding storm and WATD. 86% of the town was in darkness the day after the storm. We had our second Treasurer Collector Search Committee meeting at Town Hall. Cleanup continues. Eversource working to restore power. Meeting with VP of Eversource, and the governor came to Marshfield, and the chiefs and I had an opportunity to talk to him, and also talk to the Eversource workers. And week of November 1st, capital budget reports due in, meeting with Joe Fleming, our interim treasurer collector, to review that. Weekly meeting with PMA to discuss a number of issues regarding the DPW project as we begin that project. Meeting with Page Construction to sign the contract for the DPW project at Town Hall. Meeting with Dan Thomas and Danielle to review progress of site visits, etc., that Dan's working on. Meeting with Chairperson Hannafin and Danielle regarding some conservation personnel issues. Weekly owner-architect meeting on the police project. Photovoltaic parking canopies. Steel has been ordered and will be delivered sometime at the end of January. Meeting with Griffin Electric, KBA, and PMA on temporary power issue for the police project. Meeting with Gary Russell from the Board of Health and Kathy Duddy and Danielle on some personnel issues and changes at the Board of Health. Council on Aging meeting on generator issue involving Eversource Gas. Meeting with Fred Russell to discuss ongoing maintenance issues regarding the schools and some fall and winter prep for our buildings. Meeting with interim treasurer collector Joe Fleming regarding capital budget requests for FY23. Meeting with DPW to kick off their project with Page Construction. Talked about their schedule, setup, priorities, utilities, and fencing. Munis project status meeting with Casey Ernst and Joe Fleming, and the project continues to move ahead. Meeting with the architect to review second floor of Town Hall changes and bathrooms. Attended Val Blynn's retirement. As folks know, Val Blinn retired from the Board of Health. Friday was her last day after 22 years of service to the town, and presented her with a citation from the Board of Selectmen and thanked her for her years of service. And I had a meeting with Paul Nazarella to discuss some ongoing issues that he has. And that is my town administrator report. And then very quickly on the clinic.
Please.
Folks know the clinic is open. We opened on the October 30th. We're open on the 4th of November, the 5th, and the 6th, and we're averaging a little over 100 shots per day right now.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Great report. Ms. Maresco, I do want to just say a word of thanks to you for all your hard work during the storm, and especially after the storm, the immediate aftermath. I think my fellow select board members and many people in this town will agree that storm was a little more than we expected, and in a very short period of time, a lot of damage happened. And I think your hard work, that over the extra time that you put, and just the drive and coordinating all the departments and communicating with our residents to help get our town online is greatly appreciated and commended. So I just wanted to say
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Trustee, anything?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, just something quick. I totally agree with you, Mr. Chairman. Not only Michael, but the entire police and fire department, first responders did a great job.
Sure.
It was a memorable storm. I would be in support of maybe taking a retrospective look and analysis of the storm, finding out what was good, what needs maybe areas for improvement, not looking to find fault with anyone, but so we can deliver better services at the next storm. So I would be in favor of something like that. But
It's already scheduled. Lieutenant Shaw, the DOC already scheduled to bring in the power company and talk about different problems that we saw. We were very fortunate compared to a lot, and I know that some of our citizens were very upset, including some of my neighbors. I mean, Ken Park, we didn't get our power back until 5 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah.
The biggest thing now, and just before I came into the meeting, I was delayed because I received a couple of emails from some of our residents having a very tough time with Comcast. So tomorrow I'm going to see what we can do with Comcast and getting them to step up to the plate and being able to restore people's services.
It was my first real storm, Mr. Chairman, so it was interesting to me too, and maybe we can look at ways also, Mr. Maresco, to find ways for the DPW and Board of Selectmen to work more closely in communication to be responsive to the citizens during the storm.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so we have, I don't know what time it is, but we have our first appointment. Mr. Greg Guman, our town planner, and this is an update on proposed 40B Mill Creek Marshfield. Mr. Guman.
Thank you.
How are you?
So up on the screen, we have Commerce Way. You can see the arrow up here. The existing Modera is here. This is the site of the proposed Modera 2. The dog park's over here. And all this green over here is protected open space, and down here are the old Mount Skirgo wells. And the purple is the topo lines, and you can see how it's a pretty high hill, and it's really steep trying to get in from the south and from the east. So access is one issue on the town woods, town forest, etc. The site is, as I mentioned, on the south side of Commerce Way. It is in the town's industrial district. It's also in the PMUD overlay. The site is provided on Proprietors Way, there's a traffic signal up above to the north, and on Enterprise Drive, there's a traffic signal. It's uphill, as I mentioned before, the Mount Skirga Wells, and it's, this is all WRPD in this area as well for the protection of the water resources. The site plan, you can see the existing Modera to the left. There's a 50-foot wide strip of land that's BRT-owned land. There has been some severe regrading of that property as part of Modera 1. So the ability to access anything down to the bottom, which there is an unknown piece of land right down here at the bottom, you're not going to be able to use that to get there. What's colored in the site, the gray and the yellow are, well, the grays are roofs, driveways, parking, streets, and the yellow is the sidewalks. You can see the red here is the fire access trail that runs along the side, the eastern side, and then down along the south. This is town-owned, this is town-owned, and BRT recently had turned over a small strip of 20 feet wide here, which is town-owned. The inner dashed line shows your setbacks for your front, side, and rear. 125 of the parking spaces are in that setback. That's part of the reason why it's so tight. They're fitting so much in there, things are really crammed. The pink, which doesn't really show up well, these little dash lines, and they're in a number of places, those are retaining walls. One of the things that we had mentioned to them when they came in before filing with the state, I had asked them to give us a better buffer than they have on Commerce Way right now with the townhouses, a little more trees and stuff so it doesn't hit you right away that there's a big development there. This one actually will be worse because the front setbacks are right, the back wall of the townhouses are right on the setback, and with the grading, with the retaining wall and everything else, you're not going to really have any buffer in the front at all, which is unfortunate for those residents because they will get no privacy from the street as well. The property currently is completely covered with oaks and pines. Unfortunately, there will not be anything left on the site for existing vegetation. I mentioned the fire trail. Part of the reason that's important is because the 100 acres of woods that I showed you on that first map in this area, that's the only way in for a fire, currently. So I'm pushing to have this preserved and that they're going to have to slide their development to the west. The topo runs about 198 feet here. It then starts to slope down. There is another hill right in here. They're proposing to remove about 10 feet of that hill. Overall, they're taking about 3 feet of fill off the site. They are a small area over here. They're going to be doing some fill, but it's about 4,000 square feet. So I have a feeling that they'll be doing some earth removal. If you remember on our first proposal, they told us, oh, there's going to be minimum earth removal and stuff, and there was a lot more than they originally told us. So that's something we'll have to be aware of this time. The grading gets very steep up at the front of the project, which again is part of the reason why I'm so concerned about access. So we're losing this path up. There's another path over here, but that's going to be townhouses. That's the Affordable Village site. And this piece right in here is very steep. There is a 20-foot wide easement here that doesn't show up on their plans, and in their application they said there was no easements, and there is an easement that runs all the way back to the town property. The entire site's in a priority habitat for rare species, and that rare species is being pushed further and further into the town-owned open space. So their habitat has already been cut in half by everything that's gone on, and it's continuing to be reduced. I mentioned the easements, the 50-foot on the side. Lack of public transportation, there's a couple of points on that. On page 8, it said that their application makes it seem like public transportation is readily available. The closest bus is 0.8 miles down at Roach Brothers, and that's the Gap for Sale bus. You have to walk up and down two hills. One's a 62-foot hill and the other one's a 30-foot hill. In the middle of the winter carrying, groceries or trying to get to a bus, that's not really access to public transportation. We had asked the first time they came in with Modera 1 that they put a shelter and provide a bus thing and provide some funding yearly to the GATRA so they could shift their route and bring it up. And we didn't get anywhere with them. I will bring it up again this time. I think we should get them to shift that route and provide access. We're talking potentially we could have 548 units there between the two projects. They also mentioned that the Greenbush station is 7.7 miles away. 3 miles of that have no sidewalk.
Right.
Again, that's a long walk, and we have no public transportation to Greenbush. Again, we've asked GATRA, and GATRA said we would have to come up with some additional funds in order for them to run a shuttle up to Greenbush. On page 21 of their application, they mentioned that there is the GATRA bus goes all the way to the Kingston MBTA station. So you're going to drive south for an hour and a half to then take a train north. That doesn't make any sense at all. So bottom line, public transportation is not easily accessible. Everybody's going to have cars living here to get to their jobs, shopping, and everything else. Grading and clearing, as I mentioned, almost the entire tree canopy will be removed, if not all of it. That doesn't help us with our carbon reduction. It's funny how we're not allowed to cut down trees for solar farms, but it's okay when it comes to the affordable housing the state wants. Mentioned the high point, I mentioned the cuts and fills. In their application, they talk about their open space and their trails / sidewalks. I'm not seeing a lot of open space on that side, to be honest.
No.
They're going to be in the town's open space, meaning the town forest and the WRPD and the habitat area to our east, because that's where they're going to find any open space. Unfortunately, the main buildings are kind of an army barracks style design. There are no elevators in the buildings. Modera 1, we ended up with 248 units on 21.2 acres. That was 11.6 units per acre. Modera 2 is proposed at 300 units on 12 acres, or a density of 24.8 units per acre. Modera 2 to be ordering the same density of Modera 1, which we were pretty pleased with, would have to be reduced by 160 units. And then the last point is, as we had a discussion last time, I'm expecting the fire department will be looking for a second way in and out. Right now, they only have one way in and out. And again, we're going to have that hillside to contend with to get that extra entrance in. And with that, I'm all set.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Iman. Just a couple of questions for me. So I share your concerns with many of all these concerns, and inevitably, I have serious concerns about the fire access because, if something would happen there and there's only one way in, one way out, I think that's just asking for
We got a lot of people trapped.
a lot of people trapped, especially in that kind of density.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important to make sure we point out to them that, be proactively thinking about, God forbid anything happens, but we want to be prepared for it if something did happen. And then also the authentic public transportation disclosure. I think they want to be real with people on what really, to me, real public transportation is. Bus stops are right there, subway or train, and we just don't have that. So when you say no elevators, how many units or how high is the stack on these units?
So the majority of them are 3 stories for the apartment buildings. Several of them are 4 stories for half of the building.
So it's basically a 3rd and 4th story walk up.
Yeah.
That's tough. And then obviously the density of units per acre is not ideal. If when we look at the way those units look in Modera 1, it doesn't take take an architect to realize that they're trying to put a lot more units into smaller space, and it's going to be very, very cramped in there, so, okay. Do you have any
Yes.
questions? Yeah.
So, Greg, I know we don't have a ton of autonomy here because we're under the state's 10% target for affordable housing, but what tools do we have at our disposal to try to shape this in a positive direction as much as possible?
Similar to what we did with the first one. I wouldn't say pressure, but we need to pay close attention with the ZBA and support them. The public needs to come out and let the ZBA hear that as well. The ZBA has the ability to mold it. We can't say no, but we can improve it, which is what we did last time. So that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the number one thing. Support the zoning board of appeals as much as possible, get the best possible project or, development for the town.
Thank you.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think Vice Chair Darcy really nailed it with the important question there. We can comment all we want, but how much really do the comments carry any weight? I personally, although it may not carry any, I'd like to get out that I have some severe reservations. I did take the walk with you on the project. The impervious amount is phenomenally impressive versus the amount of acreage. If you look at that gray and yellow,
Yeah.
which goes back to the density of 24.8 versus 11.6. Do you feel this project would be economically viable at 11.6?
We would need a economist to tell us that, a financial person to tell us that.
Okay. And I realize that we can't stop it from going forward. Earth removal, is it huge?
Again, we won't know until they give us cut and fill information. They have not provided
Where
the
does,
details.
where does that typically go?
The last time, it went across the street.
Could that be used? Could that be used for our dog park initiative? Because we have a lot of need for fill for the dog park initiative.
The dog park was supposed to be cut and fill. They were cutting into the side slopes. I don't think there was as much fill as originally thought for the site.
I only bring that up as just a general comment. I know we need fill for the dog park. It is expensive, and if we have extra, and the habitat, turtle habitat. What is the name of the company? An NEP. What is it? The
NH. Well,
yes. You know what I'm talking about. So have they commented?
So Modera and VRT had worked with them and had put in a payment towards the turtle habitat and stuff.
So it was a take, and they made a payment take? Okay, so, all right, they made a payment take on that. Public transportation, you covered. I know there's a huge CO2 increase here. We're eliminating acres and acres of is it possible they could do a CO2 offset with solar on the roofs?
That's a possibility.
Okay. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, and everyone for bearing with me.
So based on these comments, I mean, excuse me. Based on these comments, I mean, what my recommendation would be that we ask Mr. Maresco as our town administrator to prepare a letter draft a letter for us, highlighting these concerns and some of the concerns that Mr. Guimond has expressed. We'll review the letter and then send it on to the Office of Mass Housing just to make sure. As you said, we can't stop it from coming, but I think they should know that the board shares in these concerns and that we are going to be watching this closely and working with our ZBA to make sure that we're looking for every opportunity to make sure this project goes off correctly and that we do the best we can to do what's right in the situation. So if it's all right with you guys, I'm going to make a motion to instruct Town Administrator Mike Maresco to draft a letter highlighting the issues and concerns raised during this discussion to be sent to the Office of Mass Housing from us, the Select Board, on or before November the 10th, 2021.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Kamal.
Right, we have our second appointment. Our second appointment is Silkies Inc., DBA Ricky's Market, application for change of manager and change of officers, directors, and shareholders. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Louis Cassis. I'm an attorney, and I represent Silkies, and I'm before you with an application by Mr. Singh to change the officers, directors, and shareholders in the manager of Silkies at 1804 Ocean Street.
Great. Mr. Maresco, I need to read this in the record, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So this is a Town of Marshfield notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws as amended that the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, November 8th, 2021 at 6:45 p.m. in the Selectmen's Hearing Room, Town Hall, 870 Moraine Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts 02050, on the application for change of manager from Balinger Singh to Harismaran Singh and change of officers, directors, and shareholders at Silkies Inc., DBA Ricky's Market. Premises located at 1804 Ocean Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts 02050. Premises described as first floor convenience store, one office, and 2 rooms for storage. Marshfield Licensing Authority, Christopher R. Rowland, Chairman, Stephen G. Darcy, Vice Chairman, and James J. Kilcoyne, Clerk. All right, so, go ahead.
Well, thank you for letting us appear before you.
Sure.
This is a very seamless transaction. Beljinder is the father of... Father-in-law. Yeah, of your wife, the father of your wife, right? Yeah, Jasby is his daughter, and they're gonna take over, he's gonna retire, and they're gonna take over the business. He's been there 11 years already, so...
Right.
he should be pretty well versed in what's going on over there.
Okay. I believe that everything's in order. I really don't, I looked at this earlier, like I said, I think everything's in order. I don't really have any concerns. Do you have any concerns?
No.
Any concerns, Mr. Kilcoyne? All right, so I'll make a motion to allow the change of manager and change of officers, directors, and shareholders, Silkies Inc., DBA Ricky's Market. Is that good, right?
From,
Oh, I have to put, yeah, sorry. I didn't have it in front of me.
Is it easier to do it as 2 motions?
might be, yes.
I don't have that, that's all on there. Oh, yeah, there it is. So we'll do it as 2 motions. So the board moves to approve the change of manager at Silkies Inc., DBA Ricky's Market from Balhinder, sorry, my apologies, Singh to Harsmaran Singh.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the second is the board moves to approve Hasmaran Singh as president, secretary, director, and Yasmeed Kaur as treasurer director.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're good.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Rob. Beverly was very helpful.
Good luck.
in that
Yep,
process. Thank
thanks
you.
for coming in.
Great,
Good luck with the
thank you.
store.
Nice meeting you.
All right, so let's move on with our action items. Next is discussion and vote on letter up to Mass Housing regarding Mill Creek 40B proposal. I think we did that.
Yes.
So we'll just move over that. Next is discussion and vote on declaring furniture equipment as surplus for auction destruction. What do we have this time?
It's just some old desks and furniture pieces that
Okay.
have outlived their usefulness.
Right. I see desk, yeah, just some old furniture. I have no questions.
No questions.
All right, so I'll make a motion I'll make a motion to declare that attached furniture and equipment as surplus for auction or destruction.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, discussion and vote on application for one-day wine and malt license for Latitude Beverage. This is 90-plus seller, Kelsey Lemon. This is for another event at the Winslow House. It's the Holiday Artisan Market happening on the 27th of this month. Seems like insurance is in place. Do we have... We just need approval from the fire and police, right? Or the
Correct.
police, yeah. Don't have any concerns, do you?
No.
Do we have fire and police?
No, we'll just have to get,
So condition it.
condition it.
Okay.
All right. So the board moves to approve a one-day license wine and malt for Kelsey Lemon from Latitude Beverage for November 27th, 2021, from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. for an event at the Winslow House located at 634 Careswell Street for their holiday artisan market, subject to the approval of the Marshfield Police Department and Fire Department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is discussion and vote on application for commercial parking permit for the Boys and Girls Club. This is for the Thanksgiving Day Turkey Trot that they're doing on Thanksgiving morning from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. They have signed an agreement how they parking what they would do as far as parking on town land for that. This would also need to be approved by Marshfield Police Department and the school department. But I have no questions. I only need to disclose that I'm on the board. I'm a sitting member of the board for the Boys and Girls Club. So that's the only thing.
No questions.
Questions?
Questions?
Questions? Okay. So I will make a motion to approve the parking permit for the Boys and Girls Club for Thanksgiving Day, November 25th, for their turkey trot from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. for 200 cars at the South River School and Field, subject to fee and approval by the Marshfield Police Department and School Department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is discussion and vote on capital budget spending limit for fiscal year 2023. Mr. Marasco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just very briefly, as we come before the board every year at this time, we need to get the board to vote on a limit for capital projects for FY '23. We've received all the reports. They were due into the Treasurer Collector's Office on the 1st of November. We have until the third week, last Friday of the third week, to get it to capital budget. There are many needs. There's probably, over $6 million worth of requests. So I'm recommending that the board approve a $2 million cap for capital expenditures.
Okay. Then this would come, where would this come from, the 2 million?
The 2 million, we borrow the 2 million.
Be borrowed, okay. Okay, that seems, every year we have way more need or make way more requests than we can accommodate, but we try to do the best to, I know what the capital budget does, and as us as the select board, we try to do our best to address priorities and fund as much as we can each year, so.
And that's what we do, as you know, once the board votes on this, and then the interim treasurer and I will go through and look, we'll meet with the departments and get sort of, what's their number one priority.
Sure.
So that we can, everyone gets something, we try to help everyone out, and we base that on needs and importance. And then we offset that, as you know, at the special fall town meeting when we have free cash. We take some of the projects that weren't funded, and we're able to fund them with free cash, so there's no additional taxation to the taxpayers. And then we have a little money set aside. We'll do the same thing at the special, at the annual.
Great, okay. No concerns, do you?
No.
Any concerns?
Concerns, no. It seems like a normal and customary number based on traditionally what I've been able to look at. It usually runs 1.8 to 2.2, give or take. We know there's a lot of needs. We know that the taxpayers have a lot of exclusions, right, for DPW, police, schools that are on top of their normal tax bills. So this seems prudent to keep it at 2.
Great. Okay, so the board moves to approve a capital budget spending limit of $2 million for fiscal year 2023.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next is discussion and vote on request for permission to waive demolition fee for Pratt Barn. Mr.
So,
Maresco.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So as you know, we've been trying to remove the bond for a number of years now. We've had no takers, people didn't want it, so it's been broken into. The facilities folks are up there at least once, if not twice a month, boarding it up. We've spent more money on pieces of plywood to board up the windows and the doors and keep it from getting burnt down. We advertised 2 or 3 times since the spring Finally, on the fourth try, we got a gentleman to bid for $2,500. For the $2,500, he tears it down, cleans up the site, disposes of everything, and he gets to keep whatever he wants from that. If we didn't do that option, then we would have to ask the taxpayers to foot the bill to tear it down, somewhere between $13,000 and $14,000. The Pratt house, when we tore it down, was about $12,000, so this would be probably a little more. So, we're asking, they had to pull a demolition permit, so we're asking the board to waive the demolition permit fee.
Seems reasonable to me. It seems like a good solution. Have somebody willing to do that, so I have no other questions on it.
No questions.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Minister, is this required by the CR?
Yes, to tear it down. There's not supposed to be any structures. So I think is it Wildlands Trust? I forget who has that one.
I think it's
It is Wildlands.
Wildlands
It's
Trust.
Wildlands
So,
Trust.
yeah, they don't like it's a shame, it's one of the things that I would recommend to the board, the next time that we negotiate things like this, and there is property, people after the fact come up and there was a gentleman in town that's a very, very successful business person that said, that would be great to have a little music camp for kids and also do music and also do agriculture, do raised beds and plant some crops and flowers and have an after-school program. Unfortunately, that's not allowed by the CR, and that's why we've been sort of strapped with the bond. And now, sadly, we have to have it torn down. If you go by, about half of it's down. They've been working since last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just people, CR is conservation restriction, right, Mr. Marisco?
That is
And so
correct.
this land was put under conservation restriction with a third party, correct,
Yes.
as required by law. Is there any way we can get more communication so that, everyone's in tune as to who is selecting it? Because some of these buildings, once they're gone, they're gone. I mean, can you imagine if the Hatch Mill was destroyed?
That's
You know,
correct.
under,
I'm
under,
proud to say, as a sitting member of the Board of Selectmen, I worked to save that building, so yes, and it's there. I think you're right, there needs to be more communication. It was the one thing that I had recommended to Open Space, that they go out to bid. Even though there's a limited amount of companies, they should still see which one of those companies are gonna give us the best deal. We pay $13,000 to $15,000 per piece of property for them to monitor. Now, people will say, well, why do we need to monitor? Why can't our own people? There's something about, I think, prior to COVID, and I reported to the board, I think Mr. Rowland, our chair, was a first-year member, and I was working with my counterparts and working with the Secretary of Environmental Affairs to have like Norwell hold ours, we'd hold Norwells, and vice versa. They just don't think that the town would be a good steward to protect the property. What do those CR companies, third parties do? They just make sure that there's really no building. They make sure that, trash is not being accumulated, that the appropriate town agencies are going and cleaning up the property if the stuff's there. They don't clean it, but they notify us. We've had a number of issues. They've reached out to town council, Bill Grafton and myself. We had to go out and look at, okay, that's a lot of dumping. We gotta get the DPW to go pick that up. We gotta get the trash people to come and pick it up. But there needs to be more communication. And the one thing I would suggest to the board is that, we've gotta think about, maybe doing third-party CRs with organizations that would be more open to have use of being allowed the buildings to stay and create another use for those buildings, if economically feasible. There would have to be a revenue source.
yeah, I agree. Each parcel is an independent look, and maybe the town holding it, or maybe a specific one. So I really like the idea of going out, make sure we get the best bang for the buck. That will also give us the opportunity for increased transparency prior to the CR person holder being selected. So
Absolutely.
thank you for doing that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Excellent. So that being said, I'm going to make a motion. The board's going to move to waive the demolition fee for the Pratt Barn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the next is, we need to take a vote to accept the minutes of October 18th, 2021 and October 29th, 2021. Do we have
So, Mr.
signatures?
Chair, there's only enough signatures for 18.
Just for 18, okay, so for now, we'll just, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for October 18th, 2021.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's it, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We're going into
Yep.
executive session.
Oh, right, sorry. So we're going to, I'm going to adjourn this open meeting to move to executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel pursuant to Mass General Law, Section 30A, C 30A, Section 21A2, and also to discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual pursuant to Mass General Law, C 30A, Section 21A1.
Second.
You have to pull the board.
Poll the board, yes.
Yes.
I'll poll the board. Mr. Rowland?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Okay, not to return to public session,
And
unanimous
not to
vote.
return to public session. Thanks, everyone.